Hello, in this video we're going to look at publisher and author. We're going to look at the publisher's profit maximizing price under author royalties and lump sum payment. The inverse demand for a textbook is given by the following equation, and the publisher's cost of the textbook is given by this equation. Suppose the author of the textbook receives a royalty fee of 20% of total revenue. What price does the publisher set for the textbook, and how much profit is earned? What price does the author prefer for the textbook? And finally, in Part C, suppose the author is paid a lump sum payment of $493,000 and receives no royalty fee. What price does the publisher set, and how much profit is earned? Let's start with Part A. The publisher's profit is going to be 0.8 times total revenue minus total cost. Note the publisher only keeps 80% of the total revenue, 1 minus 20%, and as we stated up here, the author receives 20% of the publisher's total revenue. So rewriting the profit here as 0.8 times total revenue, where total revenue is the price per textbook times the number of textbooks sold, and then we're going to subtract out total cost. Let's make our substitutions. What is price? We're going to plug in this inverse market demand of 100 minus 0.001 Q. That's all multiplied by Q. And then we're going to subtract out total cost. We got fixed cost of $500, and then we're subtracting out the variable cost of 10Q. Rewriting that last equation, and now simplifying, taking this 0.8 and multiplying it by 100 and then multiplying it by this 0.001 Q. So distributing the 0.8. And now let's distribute the Q here. So multiplying everything through by Q. And now we're ready to maximize profit. We're going to take the derivative of the profit equation with respect to Q, the quantity of textbooks, and we get back this result right here. We're maximizing, so we're setting the derivative here equal to 0. And now we're going to solve for Q. So 80 minus 10 is 70. Little division here. And we get the profit maximizing number of textbooks of almost 44,000. To get the profit maximizing price, take the number of textbooks here and plug it back into the inverse market demand. And we get a textbook price of $56.25. Profit under this scenario. The publisher keeps 80% of the total revenue, where total revenue is the price of the textbook times the number of textbooks produced and sold. And then we're going to subtract out total cost here. And we get an answer here of about $1.5 million. In terms of the author is going to receive 20% of the firm's total revenue. So 20% of total revenue here is almost $493,000. Now let's move on to Part B. The author prefers the publisher to maximize total revenue, not profit, because the author's earnings are linked to revenue. So the author would prefer the following, that the publisher just maximize revenue, and here's our revenue equation. Now making the substitution in for P, simplifying, and now maximizing this expression here by taking the derivative of revenue with respect to Q. This is just marginal revenue. We're just setting marginal revenue equal to 0. Solving for Q here, Q equals 50,000, and the price would be $50. Plugging that 50,000 back into the inverse market demand, the publisher would set a price of $50. Profit under this scenario, taking the publisher's profit equation, plugging 50 in for P and 50,000 in for Q, the publisher would make a little bit less than $1.5 million. The author's royalty payment here would be higher. In this case, it's now $500,000, $500,000, than when the publisher was just interested in maximizing profit. The publisher does worse under this scenario, but the author does better. Now let's look at Part C, where there is no royalty fee. The author is just paid a lump sum fee by the publisher of $493,000. What happens under this scenario? Profit for the publisher will then look like this: total revenue minus total cost minus the lump sum fee to the author. Making all our substitutions. And now maximizing, taking the derivative of the profit equation with respect to quantity. And the publisher here would produce 45,000 textbooks, sell them at a price of $55 each. The publisher would earn a profit here of over $1.5 million. So the publisher would do better here under the lump sum payment than under the royalty fee of 20%. So in this scenario, both the publisher and author are better off. The author is receiving more money under the lump sum fee than the 20% royalty fee arrangement. So in this case, both are made better off. One caveat, however: if the author receives a fixed amount regardless of quality, the author may put little effort into writing. Okay, I will stop here.